Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison from Think, Be, Do Leadership and the home of the Quiet Leaders Launchpad on this Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Oh my goodness. I can't remember what day it is. My goodness. But that's probably because I'm guilty of this exact thing. I can't say no. Or I find it difficult to say no, let's say. Okay, so what we're looking at today is why we find it so hard sometimes to say no. And I don't know about you, but maybe you are a business owner or you are a leader within a big team and you've got people that are asking you stuff and they're queuing at your door and they want you to do stuff. And instead of saying like, no, I can't do that, you need to do that yourself, or you need to find somebody else, or instead of delegating the thing that you are still doing yourself, you find yourself just either accepting it or you're just getting on with it and you're doing it. And even things that you thought that you had said no to seems to be that they haven't fallen off your plate and they still are popping up, and eventually it's like people know that you are just eventually going to give in. It's like having kids, I think. The more they ask for sweets, eventually you're just going to go, oh, all right then, I'll give you some sweets. Or in this case, oh, all right then, I'll do it. And so today what I want to do is to look at, well, what is it that stops us from saying no? And also why is that, and the effects of that, and what we can do about it. Because at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but if you're listening to this live, put hashtag live or just reply anyway and tell me, would you like to have a bit more time and a bit less stuff to do? That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? But if you're listening on replay, just put hashtag replay and let me know that you're watching on replay. So let's have a look at why is it that we find ourselves doing more than we should be doing and not saying no. Now it depends. There's many reasons why, but let's have a look at the first one. I think one of the biggest things I see when I'm coaching people on the Leaders Launchpad is what I suppose they would describe as, I feel awkward. I don't want to say no because I don't want them to think that I'm lazy or that I'm not very nice or that I'm not being helpful, because I'm a helpful person and I'm a good person and I'm a hard worker, and I want to be seen to be able to deliver the thing that I'm meant to be delivering. And so people say to me sometimes, well, I find this awkward because if I say no, I feel bad. I feel awkward. I feel like I'm letting people down. So have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like, oh God, if I say I can't do this project or I don't want to take over this meeting or whatever it is, I feel awkward. For those of you who are watching, then just let me know. So the first thing is that that in and of itself creates your problem for you as well. Because if you're feeling awkward and therefore you can't say no because you think, oh, actually I need to be seen as helpful and I need to be seen as delivering all these things. The biggest problem with that is that people will then see you as a doer. As somebody who they can give stuff to, who will follow through, and who is like this really reliable person, very reliable. That's what you're going to be, very reliable and useful person to them. And the problem with that is you're useful to them rather than them being useful to you. So the awkwardness, thank you for that, love, whoever that was. Who is that who's just put a heart up there? That's very sweet of you. Thank you very much. But if you are feeling obliged to deliver a product, a service, or a thing, and therefore not giving it away or saying no, then the balance of who you are to that person, so the dynamic of that relationship, is that they see you as useful to them, not you see them as useful to you. And now, it's not about using necessarily. However, you've set yourself up in a relationship where they see you as the person who does for them rather than you are the one who delegates to them. And therefore, it might still be somebody who's actually in your team, but when they can't do something or they're not sure of something, and when they want to, they've got a bit too much work or they want an afternoon off, they see you as a resource. Which is not good, is it really? If you're meant to be like either the boss or leader within the team, if you're seen by them, and this might feel like, well, how can that possibly be? But if you're seen by them as a resource of which to offload stuff to, then they're going to keep doing it, because if you're feeling awkward and you don't give this up, then and you give up the mindset of this, then you are still going to be a resource, even though you may be the boss. Have you ever realized that they see you as a resource? So it's a bit like parent-child relationship. And we can talk about that as in terms of transaction analysis, but we're not going to do that today, because that's what people work with me on the Leaders Launchpad for. So we're not going to do that. But we're talking about parent-child relationship. If you're treating them like you're a parent-child relationship, they can fob you off with anything. They can say, oh, I can't do this, or can you help me with this? And whatever they say, you feel obliged to help, and therefore you feel awkward to say no. Okay, so that's number one. I think it happens to a lot of people, is they just don't want to be seen as somebody who doesn't do. But what you'll notice is, if you have a little look around, you might need to be a bit observant on this one, okay, is that you'll notice that the people who don't say yes, and the people who just sort of don't seem to deliver in that way, they're the ones who end up getting all the good jobs. They're the ones who end up getting promoted, because when you deliver in that way and you feel obliged to help everybody and deliver, and don't take this the wrong way, you'll still help people as a leader, but I'm just talking about doing it for people, okay? You are rescuing people, and you feel awkward because if you don't rescue them, but you're doing them no favors and you're doing you no favors, because you are seen by others as this doer. And the person who's going to promote you, or if it's your own business, then it doesn't matter, but you're still going to be seen that way. But people will look upon you as the doer, and therefore you're not going to be seen as the leader. So even more so, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Is that the right word? That when you feel awkward because you feel this need to say yes, then you're actually creating more and more work for you, because you've got this cycle of just, well, I'm going to ask her or him again, because last time they did a fantastic job for me and I didn't have to do it. Yeah. So the dynamic is wrong, especially if you're the boss. Okay. So that's point number one. The second point is, I think is massive, that comes to me, is, well, I want to say no. It's not that I feel awkward, but I don't know how to say no. Okay. I don't know how to do it without being really, what's the word? A bit sweary, arsey, if you know what I mean. Making it awkward and making it nasty, or making people feel bad. I don't want to make people feel bad. And so I don't know how to do it, so that I do set people up to succeed as well. Because what you don't, just as an example, okay, so I was just talking to a colleague earlier on, who said that one of the team had asked a client where something was. They were looking for something on social media, and the client had replied in a really abrupt way of like, well, it's not there. Which is not very helpful, because that set that person up to fail, essentially, because she didn't know where it was, and she's now not going to know where it was, because that person just said, well, it's not there. Okay, so she's certainly not a rescuer, this one, but what she's also doing is not helping that person to succeed. So the problem is if we go too far the other way, we end up being a bit bolshy and creating a sort of an overly no culture, which means that people still feel bad, but they feel bad because in a way you're kind of, it's true what you said, you don't want to feel awkward because you don't want to feel bad. Well, this is where they do hate you for saying no, because you're not helping them to succeed. Okay, so there's no, and then they're left hanging, is not good. But if you have set them up to succeed when you say no, that's different, because then they'll be like, okay, so she or he is not going to do it for me, but I know how to do it. So this example, name no names, where the person just said, oh, no, it's not there, you've done it wrong, sets everybody up to fail, because that poor person doesn't have any idea how to do it more. So the only option is you've got to go back and ask again. Yeah. So then the cycle of like, I'm really annoyed with you, carries on. So you've got to know how to say no in the way of setting somebody up to succeed, i.e. that they are confident and clear and capable of doing it themselves. Okay, so it's no good just palming it off. Yeah, so we have to say no, but we have to be able to set them in a way that they can actually go out and do it themselves. So important that the reason why people don't do it is because they might like, well, I want to, but I don't know how to do that, how to say the right words to say to make it a positive experience, let's say. Now, the third piece then, which I think is another one that I hear a lot. And I've got a little swear word down there, but I'm not going to say it. we don't get very good results when we do it. When we say no and we then say we're not going to do that, or when we say no, you can, I can't do it, you'll have to do that yourself. What happens is we get really bad results. And then we go, oh my God, I wish I'd done it myself. And there we have taught ourselves that we should have done it ourselves. Okay. So when we get bad results, we're frustrated, we're fed up, and we think, oh my God, perhaps I should have actually done that myself. Now, the thing about that is there's a reason why we get rubbish results. And that's because, again, the little bit of the how is that we haven't given them that confidence and capability, and we haven't shown them what good looks like. Okay. We haven't shown them how, I call it make the boat go faster. And as a leader, we've got to show them what it is they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to do that. Okay. So we get crap results because we're not clear and we're not setting them up to show them how to do it. Okay. And then lastly, and it kind of goes a little bit with this, is that I think I'm going to get rubbish results. So I don't actually necessarily know I'm going to get it, but I feel like I'm going to get rubbish results, i.e. I don't trust my team. Okay, so we don't say no, we do things because we're just like, oh, I'll do that. And then we take on more and more things because we don't trust the people around us to do it for us. Okay, and that's a different thing from them not being able to do it, because they may be entirely capable, but you are stopping them. You are the blocker. Okay, so it's not that we couldn't say no, it's that in our head we tell ourselves, oh, I can't say no, I can't do that, I can't give that away because I don't trust anybody else around me. Okay, so it might be like, I don't know, your boss comes along and says, can you write this report for me? And you say yes, but actually you could have given that to somebody else in your team, but you don't because you don't trust them. Okay, so we again have to go back. 3 of these, in fact, all 4 of them really sit squarely in your domain of actually I could do something about this. So either it's something to do with like your mindset, or it's to do with how you've set the situation up as to whether you're able to say no or to give that thing away and delegate the job. Okay, so again, we're coming back to what have I set up in terms of the relationship? Thank you, Anna. What have I set up in terms of my relationship with this person? Do they expect me to do this for them? Am I a resource for them, or are they a resource for me? It freaks your mind out when you realize that your team think that you're a resource for them. Now, if you should listen to all of the leadership gurus, let's say, of course, as a leader, we could call it servant leadership if you like, but not servant as in doing everything for them. You're servant because you are setting them up to succeed. You are doing everything you need to do to allow them and enable them to do the thing that you want them to do. Does that make sense? And so when we talk about servant leadership, we're certainly not talking about being a servant, which is essentially where some of us end up when we can't say no. I don't know about you, Anna, but maybe you've been there yourself, or maybe whoever else is listening to this, then I'm sure we've all been there at times. So, for example, if you take it back to your kids or something like that, it's like, do they make their own packed lunches in the morning? Well, if they don't make their own packed lunches because you're making them, you've trained them to let you make the lunches. Yeah, simple example. And when that means that you don't say no, you show them by your behavior that you don't trust them, or to put not sweeties in or something like that. And therefore you're like, let me do that. And therefore, because you haven't done that, you've trained them to let you. So what do? They go, oh, fine, I'll let you do that. Well, that's no different from the people around you in business. No different at all. Because people, obviously, everybody's busy. So if you are the sort of person that can't say no, that feels awkward, you're going to take on too much, you don't trust people, then of course they're going to be like, well, Julie, you can do it then, because I'm just going to step back and let you and get on with something else. Yeah, because you're that useful resource for them, because this frees their time up to go and do something more exciting, whereas you are acting like a dog's body. Now, the problem with this is, as a leader, who do you think is going to look at you and think, yeah, there you go, there's a leader in the making? because they don't. Thank you, Anna. It resonates with me as well, I suppose, but that's just me talking. But yeah, because if somebody's looking upon that relationship and there's you saying, oh, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that, they just don't see you as a leader. So you're not going to get your promotion. You're not going to grow your business because you can't, because you're still trying to do all the work, working 24/7. So it doesn't matter whether you are in somebody else's business or your own business and you want to grow, you're not going to get there if you don't change these things. So we've got to get rid of that awkwardness. We've got to get you understanding, well, how do I set people up to perform so that I feel like I want to say no, and how do I actually physically say no without offending everybody? Yeah. So on the Leaders Launchpad, we do a lot about this, and we work on all of those things. And many of you will have seen this diagram before, which I'll share again. Why not? Just for the fun. This diagram here, my favorite rainbow diagram. Can you see that? Okay, so here, when we're talking specifically in this section about saying no, okay, in order for us to feel like we want to say no, and like I said to you, so it's to let that stuff go, we have to look at the yellow and the purple for me a minute. So in terms of like the triangle in the middle is team performance. We either have people that can't do, or they just don't do, or they won't do. Okay, can't do means I don't have the confidence and I'm not enabled. That's the purple and the yellow. Don't do probably means that they don't have the commitment or excited by the thing that you stand for or that your business stands for. Won't do means they're not excited by you. They're not engaged or trusting of you and you not of them. Okay. But but picking out the pieces about this is, if it's about how you feel, i.e. I feel awkward and I don't know how, a lot of that is about your mindset on the right-hand side, about getting them to want to do that for your cause and because of your mindset as a leader, and also on the left-hand side about being confident, enabled, capable, autonomous, and clear. And we need to set that up through a coaching relationship with them, so that instead of you just feeling like I'm just throwing them to the wolves when you actually delegate something or say no, then you can give it to them where they start to understand that they are responsible for it, and therefore they have choices and decisions to make. But you've got to allow them to make those choices and decisions, and show them through a coaching style how to make those choices and decisions. Then you will feel more confident to let go. They will feel more confident and responsible to take it on, instead of just passing it straight back to you like mum to make their lunches for them. Back to food again. So I hope that makes sense. I just want you to think about whether it is because you just find it awkward. It's like, oh, I feel bad. I feel like I should deliver, because that is a big red alert for you as a leader. Okay, if you're feeling that, then we need to change that, because you are going to be dog's body for the rest of your life if you feel like that. Okay. If you feel like I don't know how, then I want you to think about a little phrase and a way you could say that. For example, and we do much more of this on the Leaders Launchpad, but today I'm going to say to you, and not but. That's it. What I mean by that is, instead of saying, oh, yes, I can, but I can't do it now, or but this, or but I would do that, but, which makes everybody feel bad, because it's like, I would, but I'm not going to. Yeah. If you change but to and, then you can change the conversation. It makes you feel a whole lot better, and it gets a different result. For example, well, I could do that, and in order to do that, I need you to find some information, or wait until Monday, or any of those things that you want to say. So the and instead of the but makes it feel much, much better and doesn't sound like a negative. That's just one little tip for saying no. There are more, but not on this live, because we've been going for nearly 20 minutes. And the last thing is, if you don't trust your team, then you've got to look at this diagram and say, what is it about it that I don't trust? What is it about this is it that they can't do? Is it that they won't do because of me? Or is it that they don't do because they're not committed and excited to the cause that we're on, i.e. what the company's all about? And picking one of those three, then working on that. And the things around the outside are going to help you to implement that. Now, we help people implement this all the time in their business as a leader, because yes, we can identify those things, but it's how do you then deal with it and what do you do about it? And then we go into a whole lot more detail and we support you and enable you to implement those strategies. So if you want some help implementing that, do let me know. But please don't go away from here and think, oh yeah, in order to be a leader and be a good person and be a good employee, I need to do more. You actually need to do less if you want people to think of you as a leader. You need to learn to say no in the right way, not in just a, I'm not doing any of that. And remember that people need to see you as resourceful, but not as a resource that they can just dump stuff onto. Does that make sense? What's the dynamic between you and the people in your team? So if you found that useful, then great. Anna, thank you very much for your comments. I will be very happy to answer any questions that you have. If you want to have more of this, then please come over and join the Facebook group. It's called Quiet Leaders with Impact, and I will stick it in the comments. And if you want to have some help to implement these strategies, and you're finding that, yeah, actually I do get seen as the dog's buddy, not the leader, or I do get given stuff and I'm acting like, I'm the parent to a bunch of children, then we know full well that it's something that we can change, because you can't change other people's behavior without changing your own behavior. So let's look at what you're doing, how you're thinking, and then we can change how the team responds to that. If you want some help doing that, then let's talk and see what we can do. We have an online program that you can join that grows your leadership, impact, and influence skills. We work one-to-one. We work with senior management teams, or we can do online coaching as an open forum. It depends what you need, but let's have a chat and see how we can help you to grow your impact and influence and help you get less busy, but achieving more. Have a wonderful day. And if you're listening to this on the replay, then just let me know what you're thinking as we go along. And if you're listening to it live, Anna and whoever else is listening to it live, thank you very much. And I will see you again tomorrow about 1 o'clock. Take care.